This is Barbara Berrigan-Perea with Delta Flows, a radio show by the Voice of Stockton and Restore the Delta. This is the weekly radio show where we discuss everything Delta related: the environment, water management, water quality, farming, history and culture, public events, recreation, Delta food, and the arts. Tune into Delta Flows on KXVS, the Voice of Stockton, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at KXVS Radio.
KXVS, the Voice of Stockton, live. The Voice of Stockton at Stone Soup Studio. KXVS.
This program does not reflect the views of KXVS management or KXVS, the Voice of Stockton.
KXVS, the Voice of Stockton. That's right. All the way live. Streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Of course, you can pick us up on the TuneIn app and Simple Radio. It's Stockton SJC, the Fugazi edition. Yes. So, of course, my guest in the studio is none other than City Councilmember Christina Fugazi for District 5. How are you?
Hey, I'm great.
Right.
Happy December.
Happy December,
Where
yes.
has the time gone?
Hey, yeah, we missed last week because you were super busy, and so was the rest of the City Council. Super
busy, yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on last week, and I know that, as much as Roger tried to do the story in the record, the meeting went so long.
Yeah.
He was missing parts of it, and people really, I think, missed out on quite a bit.
It was an epic meeting.
It was. So Monday night was a special meeting, and Tuesday night was our regular meeting.
Right.
But there were big things that happened at both meetings. So let's start with the special meeting on Monday. Yes. And some of the things we talked about that I've gotten, the public asking me questions. The first one we talked about, first thing, were parking meters in downtown Stockton. Because as you know, we're missing a whole lot of them.
Yes.
A whole lot of parking meters.
Yes.
And we have, a part of the bankruptcy settlement was we were required to pay back, obviously, money for our parking garages.
Uh-huh.
And, we needed to collect that revenue and submit it to our debtors.
All
so, not having them as much as some people liked it, I was surprised at business owners who told me, bring them back. And I was like, wait, I thought you guys didn't want them. And then some of the owners told me, no, what happens is employees or other people park there and they stay there all day. So then my customers don't have a place to park.
Camping.
And I just like, whoa, okay. I didn't really think about it from that perspective. So what we talked about were the different options we had, and it goes everything from, $8,000 for us to put all coin meters back out. That's it, $8,000.
That's pretty
cheap. I was
cheap.
like, wow. But, here's the deal. It's not very convenient. What if you don't have the right change? So, we did the app piece. Not everybody used the app. They just fed the coins. A lot of people want credit cards. When I go to Sacramento, I like that I'm able to use my credit card, and I'm actually able to stay for an extended period of time, but I have to pay a premium for it.
Right.
Those costs to do the credit card only, we're not talking $8,000. We're talking about serious capital investment for that because they have to be wired. They have to be wired in order to take the credit card payment.
That's right.
And so much higher expense. And here's the reality. Not everyone has a credit card.
That's true.
So you might have a license, but you don't have a credit card. I mean, you could be a teenager going downtown and you don't have a credit card yet. And people say, oh, you have a debit card, you have some. No, not everybody has one.
No, that's true.
And if you look at our population, there's a large portion of our population that pays cash for everything. I know because I've seen people come in to make their payments for their water bill. Water, sewer, garbage,
Right.
bill at the city, and they do a lot of cash, and people just they're afraid of credit or whatever reason, but they don't have it. So
And it's their right.
right. The fourth option, so we have a coin
meter, credit card only meter. Wait, what was the third option?
Oh, we have a combination.
Oh, okay, combo meter.
So the one that we had before, which was a coin or app, and then we had the credit card coin combo, and then the fourth one is a pay station where there's a big unit, a really big unit, and you go and you say, I'm parked in space 483, and I want to pay for that there. Now, if you have some kind of disability and it's down and around, it might make it a little more difficult for you to get there. But those, the capital cost for those is over, now get this, $2 million.
$2 million.
To put in the pay station, the big box that you can pay multiple spots, but they can't put one on every corner, so even though you can put in a lot of spaces, but just think if you have to walk 2 blocks to go to the pay station to pay it, and by the time you get there you've already gotten a ticket on your spot,
right? And it's only picking up what, $8 a day.
Yeah. So
how many years would it take to pay back that?
My question was to staff. I specifically asked this because we're going to do a pilot study. I said, okay, so are these companies going to let us try them out for free? But we still have to do all the wiring. We still have to make sure it's connected, all that kind of stuff. But I want to know how we can get the biggest bang for our buck. I mean, if we're going to do this, let's do it right, and let's make sure we can repay our debt, and then we don't have to worry about, all the theft that we've been having.
Right.
Now, if there's coin in there, if it's credit card only, you're not going to have people wanting to steal it because there's not going to be any money in it.
That's true.
But like I said, the cost is, I think, like $500,000 or something like that.
Like $500,000,
yeah, for credit card only because, like I said, the units cost more and the installation because of the wiring.
Right. Now the credit card coin one, that's the one you're talking about, right? Or
yeah.
That one would probably be.
We can do credit card only. So there's coin, credit card only, or coin credit card. And then finally the pay station. So I during this pilot study, I said, let's look at all of them. Let's look at how long it's going to take for it to repay for itself. And also be paying down our debt. So, like I said, we're doing this pilot study. It's starting, I think, the first of the year. I know that they're putting in some meters, but like I said, the coin-only ones, for us to do all of downtown, I mean, we're talking a little over $8,000 for that. That's not...
You know what's great about coin meters?
What?
Is that people who park sometimes have to go into businesses and buy stuff to get coins.
Oh.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
And at $8,000 for all of them, we could afford for people to steal a few.
Yeah.
I know that sounds terrible, but
no.
What about, you said coin and app?
Well,
is that a different
one? So downtown we had coin and app. I can tell you I never used the app.
But how much is that one? Is that one, does that also have to be wired?
Okay, so no. The app
because
is
the information
remote.
goes to the parking meter.
Yeah, that
attendant.
says it's paid for.
Okay.
So, the
person who would write tickets is the one who already knows.
Right.
Okay.
And I like having the parking meter people. Anyway, I mean, I just. I think about other cities where, that employs people and they go around. I think about the old time where they swiped the tire and you would go out there and move your tire up a little or hose it off or whatever. But that was only one of several items of the night. And I want to get to some of these more meatier ones.
Let's
I just want people to know that we're on the job. We're looking at what our options are. And like I said, the capital cost for some of these options is into the millions.
Yeah.
Not million, but millions of dollars. And when we're looking for money to pay for some other things, I would be very hesitant to approve something of that nature.
No, but I guess with the coin meters, you do got to include the cost of the person collecting. So it's $8,000 and probably another, $100,000.
Right.
But it's still, everything eclipses it in price wise.
Yeah.
It'll take you forever to recoup that money. I think coins are good. I'm liking the coin option.
Yeah. The other thing we talked about was the Marina.
Yes.
So obviously we subsidize the downtown Marina. I mean, I personally, I think it's beautiful. I know that we've done some upgrades down there, but the thing that people complain about more than anything else is, why don't we have a gas station for the boaters down there? We would get more traffic. And I get that. I understand that. But, you know, we don't have one. So what do we do in the interim? Well, we had West Track, who was our service provider, taking care of our marina, along with people who were visitors, as well as people who lived on their boats, because there are people that live on their boats down there. There's a bathroom facility, there's security, there's all of those kind of things, events, you know, boating events, things like that, where people go down to Morelli Park and launch.
Right.
So West Track left not this the beginning of this year. So the city has been operating it since, and I think they've been doing a great job. But the city isn't really interested in managing a property like that. It's not, of course, our area of expertise. So we put it out to bid, and we only got one response.
Ooh.
And the one response was from SMG, who runs our arena.
Interesting.
And SMG has never done a marina.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, hey, we're doing a good job. I kind of want to keep it the way it is. I don't know. And here's the deal with SMG. So SMG, I love a lot of the people that work for SMG, but I really think they got a sweet deal.
Yeah, we're talking about the arena now.
Yes.
Yes. The sweetest deal in town, without a doubt, hands down.
Yes, 120 days booked.
Yeah.
Out of 365.
What is it? Subsidized how many millions?
3.445 last year.
Yeah.
So, and that's for all the entertainment venues. But guess what? They run all the entertainment venues, which includes the Fox as well as
Monopoly.
So yeah. So here's the deal. There's two contract options. One is that they just do it in the interim. You know, test the waters.
See how it works.
And we have to pay them, you know, buco bucks. Or the second option is that we renegotiate their, we bundle it with the Arena Fox contract. And with that, it includes a capital investment of $500,000. But that's for a 5-year deal. Now, what if, you know, I mean, my thing with everything, I want everything incentive-based.
Sure.
So if you do a good job, you get a perk.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of feel with the arena. The more shows you book, the better perk you get. And you don't get a raise unless you book a minimum of X events.
Right.
And that hasn't happened, which is hence why the big subsidy.
Yeah.
So I'm, you know, we went through the options, and we're this was just a discussion item. We didn't.
Right.
We did not take any council action. We just gave the staff direction on what we wanted. And like I said, I was of the mindset that let's try it out first and see how you do before we enter into a long-term 5-year contract with you.
Yeah.
And we kind of all felt similar to that.
Okay.
The next thing is the big item for the evening. The really, really big show that we had, where we had over 100 phone calls to City Hall. We had tons of emails, messages, text messages, Facebook messages, is what's going to happen with Swenson and Van Buskirk golf courses.
Right.
There were 69 speakers. And I have to tell you, downstairs, first floor was full. It was standing room only. They didn't even have enough chairs.
Wow.
There were upstairs, of course, was full. So it's 74 seats upstairs is the capacity.
Yeah.
Plus there were people in the foyer. They let some people in the foyer because, they had turned in speaker cards, so they were going to get called in.
Right.
But overwhelmingly of that number, there were only 3 that really spoke against it. And they were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Edison High School. And they said, we don't golf. It's golf's not for us.
Yeah.
But none of them have ever golfed or really been on a golf course.
So they don't golf yet.
Yeah, and it's funny because what they said was, it'd be good to have basketball courts and things like that. Well, my comment was, Van Buskirk has a great community center with indoor and outdoor basketball courts.
Right.
And guess what? Van Buskirk Community Center is the least used community center in all of Stockton.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I think when I was on Parks and Rec, the use was like 18% of the available times was it being utilized.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would we want to put in more if it's not being used now?
Right.
But anyway, that's beside the point. Most of the people that came out, a majority of them spoke about Swenson. And the reason they were really concerned, and I'm talking about the superintendent for Lincoln Unified and 3 trustees on the board showed up at our meeting, all saying, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
You want to put anywhere from 658 homes to 946 homes there.
Yeah.
And everybody's saying, well, we need housing in Stockton. Well, yeah. Do you know what traffic is like on Ben Holt, Alexandria, Lincoln Road, Meadow? Do you have any idea how long it takes people to get to school?
Yeah, it's
to
bad.
and from
It's
in the
bad.
morning?
Super bad.
It's awful. And I guess the thing that really, concerned me was here we are putting in a TCC grant, a Transformative Climate Communities grant, saying we care about our environment and our air,
Yeah.
Our atmosphere.
Right.
But you want to put cement and asphalt on 150 or 200 acres where we have
in the heart
beautiful
of the city, or
oak
North
trees
Stockton,
and grass, the things that convert CO2 into oxygen.
Yeah. Plus, they're also lower the average temperature in the area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they
Absolutely.
clean the air. They plus, it's just nice.
Right, and there's foxes that live out there. There's lots of birds that live out there. I mean, okay, so the geese I'm not so excited about, and some of those squirrels are not very nice. They're huge, but I mean, and so when we delve deeper into this,
Yeah.
and there are numbers being thrown all around. So people keep saying 1%. There's only 1% that uses it, but that number isn't accurate because here's the deal. When you go in to play a round of golf, well, first of all, when I go out there, I get a bucket of balls and I go to the driving range.
Right.
And I'll hit balls for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, out there at the driving range. I might go inside, grab a little bite to eat or something to drink. I'm not counted in the numbers that use the golf course. The only number that's counted in the golf course is those that pay green fees. But it's even smaller than that because if your zip code isn't in there, it's not counted either.
Really?
And so, and the juniors that play, they're not counted. Every time they go out and play around, they're not accounted for. So
now we got the number though, $850,000 a year it costs us.
So that's not the norm.
Okay.
The budget is for $600,000 for both courses.
Okay.
Last year was an anomaly because we had all the rain and the course was closed for 16 weeks because of all the rain and flooding. You go out there, you're going to tear up the course. So you couldn't go out there and play.
So they lost a quarter's worth of money.
Yeah.
That makes so that's that other extra couple $100 grand.
You're comparing Van Buskirk to Swenson and lumping them in together. And so the numbers that came back from John Alito was that we subsidize each golfer, and that's with the lower number, between 3,000 and 4,000 golfers.
Okay. We
subsidize each golfer at $150. So I'm wondering, and I'm like sitting there saying, how much in sales tax do each one of these people pay? And then property tax on top of that.
Yeah.
So I think we're still ahead.
Winning.
Because $150 subsidy, somebody sent me a message and they said to me, Christina, I just want you to know that this is, and I said this at the meeting, this is the one tangible benefit I feel of my tax dollars is when I go to Swenson.
Interesting.
Because, you don't think about the fire department, because I've never had to call the fire department to put out a fire.
You only
in my
think
house,
about them.
But I still fund them.
Sure.
I go to the libraries. This is the other one that I think about school districts. Well, I don't have any children. I still support school districts. I still pay on the bonds. I still, I have my property taxes to pay.
Plus, also, those people who live around Swenson, they live around a golf course. I mean, if that wasn't a golf course, we would lose $1 million a block or more in home values.
Oh, yeah.
And then that'd be a drop in tax revenue. Will it be made up?
I don't know. I just want people to understand that the way we went about this, I think, was completely wrong. People were upset that we did a town hall down at Van Buskirk, but we never did a town hall around Swenson. We didn't include the school district in any conversations. Their schools are already impacted.
Right.
Just imagine if we did 600 homes and there's 2 kids per home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have to build a new school.
Oh, not just one.
The
high school is full, so don't bring any teenagers with you.
Yeah.
Have them go from being, elementary straight to college, because the high school's already severely impacted.
Yeah.
So that's what the superintendent, he said, okay, if you move forward with this, we need to have some concessions, and that is, you will give us a 20-acre parcel and a 19-acre parcel to build a school. And you will help fund those schools, because in the budget, the California state budget, there is no money for the building of new schools.
Right.
So you're going to pony up.
Right.
So, and like I said, this discussion is not over. Because we will be having budget talks. But I had a meeting with Kemper yesterday. That's the management company, and a couple citizens at Swenson. And the parking lot was packed. The golf course was packed this weekend. Yeah. It was beautiful weather. People came out in droves. I'm sure it's probably one of their best weekends they've ever had. It's a great upside
from having that meeting.
It is. But I mean, I made some suggestions.
It was a publicity stunt
to them. Well, and publicity and marketing are a big part of this.
Sure.
I mean, doing tournaments there. The comment was that 40% of the golfers don't even live here. I think that's pretty fabulous that people want to come to Stockton and golf. And I know some of those people, because I know people in Lodi who do come to Swenson.
Day tourists.
Because they say that course is better than Mickey Grove, in better condition than Mickey Grove, and better condition than Elkhorn. Wow. And those are both more expensive. Now, my thing is this. Well, if you're coming from out of town, we're going to charge you a little bit more to golf here. Okay. We need to have, you need to show your ID.
Resident discount.
That you live here, and then you don't have to pay the higher rate. Now, I'm not saying $50 around.
No, because the higher rate's still got to be less than those other courses that they're attracting.
And people are talking about these other courses. Well, Lockford Springs is closing. So you talk about public courses. Lockford Springs is closing. French Camp has closed. It's been abandoned. So all those numbers of these courses that people are talking about, I'm sorry, you can't just go to Brookside and go golfing. Right. And then even if you could, they might say guest fees are $100, and they can say that because they're a private club, and they can set the price at whatever they want. So you are pricing an entire group of people, and everybody says, "Oh, well, this is middle class, white man sport, and it's dying." No, it is the number one growing sport for women, for teenage, and college, for women athletes.
Interesting.
It's something like 6,000% or something like that. It has grown. I mean, it used to be a small number, and now it's just it's booming. I mean, it's a huge college sport. It's now in the Olympics. So this misnomer that golf is a dying sport, it's not correct. It's not accurate.
You said middle class. So, like, if I wanted to go, you said Swenson. Let's say I wanted to play a round of golf at Swenson. What would it cost me?
So do you want a cart, or are you going to walk it?
Well, both.
I mean, all those things you have to take into consideration, and so
carts seem so much fun. Like, maybe that's the only reason why I would go.
Some places you can't actually.
They don't charge you by the minute for the cart, do they?
No. You have a flat rate for that. But I just want to say for like our youth, the youth don't have to worry so much because there are programs there. Joe Smith does a fabulous golfing program there, and they have youth that can go to clinics during the week. They can they go out and group play, and they do different rounds and things like that. So there's all kinds of things that people can take advantage of out there on the course. And like I said, there's a park there too. And one of the other things about the park is, people always talk about, what the negative things that are going on in the parks. And there really aren't a lot of negative things going on at that park. I mean, there might be somebody smoking and, whatever. But, you don't have a lot of the other issues that some of our parks have. So the summer rates, we're right now into winter rates. So Monday through Friday on the championship course to do 18 holes, you're looking at $15.
Wow. No way.
Yeah.
That is so middle class.
And if you play the executive course, so just the 3 par, you're looking at $10. Really? Around.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So it's actually super affordable. It's like cheaper than bowling.
Yeah. And the golf cart to rent is $15. So that's why I said you double it. But that's still super affordable. 15 and $30. Or you can go and play the reserve, for $50.
Can you just rent the cart and not golf?
Well, what you can do is you could be the chauffeur for a golfer. How's that?
Yeah.
So you pay for
maybe I could rent a cart and then charge them.
And then
I could stay there all day.
And then say, I'll be your caddy and drive your golf cart around for you while you play.
Wow.
But
you know what? Actually, hearing those prices, I'm gonna go out there. I never knew. I never actually played golf on the course. I've just been to the driving range myself. So, I think that sounds like a bunch of fun. A couple people, $20.
Yeah, and then if you're
35 with a cart,
right, and you get your out of towners, charge them, $25 to play. Yeah, $10 more. Yeah. I mean, they'll still come out and play.
Because they're being charged $50 up the way. Yeah,
yeah. So they'll still come out and play. And here's the other thing: like I go out there and I hit range balls. So I do a medium basket because I really don't want a large because I get tired. I'm not gonna lie, hitting ball after ball after ball, but $6 for a medium basket of balls that I can spend an hour hitting. So
this thing might have been something that we didn't expect. I mean, these prices are low, folks. So I mean, and I don't know. If it normally costs us $600,000 a year, I mean, it seemed like some of the conversation was geared toward like how can we actually turn a profit? I mean, are we ever going to be able to turn a profit? This is something that we spend to make sure that we have recreation in our community, things like that. And you don't have to live in Lincoln, you don't have to live in South Stockton or Western Ranch.
And here's the other deal: is you just brought it up. High schoolers. Do you know that all the high schools play at that golf course? You're talking about Stagg, Franklin, Edison. They have play out there for their team.
Their teams, right.
So they're out there. So then you can't afford playing at all these other places. I'll tell you, I taught at Tokay High School, and Lodi High, they had practice at Woodbridge Golf and Country Club, which is very nice. And Tokay would go out to Mickey Grove.
Right.
But it levels the playing field when you go to a course that everybody can afford to play at.
Right. Now, does Delta and UOP and Stanislaus, do they have golf teams too as well?
Yeah, they do.
Where do they golf?
I'm not sure where they do.
Probably one of those.
I think UOP might practice at a country club, but Ricky Barnes, you know, our local boy wonder golfer,
right?
You know, he grew up playing at Swenson,
right? That's where he got wonderful.
Yeah. So I mean, I sit here and I thought it was very short-sighted, and the fact that it was downplayed the community benefit. I mean, bottom line, this is a community benefit. This golf course.
Yeah.
Most, I don't want to say all, but most cities have a public golf course of our size. Definitely. I mean, if you think about it, and I would just be very sad if something like that went away. And here's the other thing is, so I mentioned that, you know, it's subsidized at $150 per golfer at Swenson. Mm-hmm. But conversely at Van Buskirk, it's more like $500. So when we look at the cost, so let's say Swenson's really costing us maybe $150,000, and Van Buskirk is costing us $500,000.
So that's where the rub is.
I mean,
Van Buskirk.
Okay, so
we need to do some work down there.
And some of the options, you know, what could we do? Could we offer it back to the family, and then the family give us some options as to how we develop it? You know, maybe they're like, oh, we don't want it back, but maybe you could do some housing there and some rec and have some green spaces. Who knows? But the way it stands right now, Van Buskirk has to stay recreational.
Okay. But
there are concerns with Van Buskirk. I've gone out and done Van Buskirk. I don't know if I'm pretty fearless, so I would go out there probably no matter what. But the times I've gone out there with my boyfriend, and we haven't had any issues. But I know for a fact that people have been robbed, that there are people walking along the levee that will cherry pick individuals. There were 2 older gentlemen, senior citizens out there golfing, that were robbed by gunpoint. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to give everything you have to that person.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's been robbed at Swenson, but I know that they have at Van Buskirk. But I'm not trying to you know, marginalize Van Buskirk. I know people that love that course. It is right there, but we need to do a better job of marketing. We need to do a better job of giving kids the opportunity. I remember when I was in high school, when we took bowling, we actually got in a bus and went to the bowling alley and bowled.
Right.
During our PE class. I'm like, well, why can't we kind of do that with PE? You know, or for kids that are doing independent study PE, trying to get their PE hours.
Right.
Set them up with the opportunity to go there. They even have loaner golf clubs for people to use if you need golf clubs. So
or yard sales.
But there's just no, like I said, there's just no reason why people, I think, shouldn't try.
Yeah.
Shouldn't try it. Don't say you don't like something if you've never tried it.
Good point. I think Van Buskirk, because of its location, its proximity to the Delta, and still relatively close off the freeway off of 5. Is it 8th Street? Right down that way, yeah. There seems like that there's a good potential for different uses out of Van Buskirk. I mean, maybe soccer fields. Maybe
they already have soccer.
Community gardens.
They do have soccer fields. They do have a softball and a baseball diamond. But we've been looking at doing a regional sports complex.
Nice.
If anything, I think we could really use some more pools around town, especially now that I heard Parkwood's pool got pulled out. So I'm really kind of sad by that because we have hot summers.
We sure do.
And we only have a couple pools. Otherwise, you better have one in your backyard, or you can buy one of those blow-up pools, add some water from your yard, and be in that. Because
we do. It's hot. Stockton has like a month of even weather, and the rest of the year it's pretty hot or pretty cold.
Yeah.
One of the things, I mean, talking about pools and how hot it is, and you talked about the the greenery. I mean, we could do with a lot more trees and greenery too to help with the heat and the temperature control.
Right.
But it looks to me though, I think the most positive thing that came about, besides the fact that the golf course has got some much needed publicity, and had maybe the best weekend in December ever.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that that is a disparity that we got to deal with. Van Buskirk looks like it's in trouble, and it's kind of awesome that it was donated by the family. If we could figure it out, if we turned it back over to them, I mean, who knows? I mean, it would be their property, but man, it's a gift to the city, and I think we could probably figure out a good use for it. Swenson sounds like worth subsidizing. And
I don't even think we would have to. And here's the other thing. You know what? When you want to sell your house and you want to get the best you can for your house, what do you do to your house before you put it on the market?
Oh, yeah, spruce it up.
Yeah. You might plant some flowers. You might do a paint job, things that are, interior paint, clean up, things like that. So, with Swenson, we're going to have to invest a little money. We've done so much deferred maintenance citywide.
Right.
It's like, look at the Civic Auditorium. We've done some things there. We cleaned the canopy, which made it look a whole lot better.
Didn't it?
We redid the floors, made it look a whole lot better. So we have to put a little bit of money into things.
Yeah.
But we've deferred this maintenance year after year after year.
That was what the city manager was talking about. What was it, like $2 million worth of maintenance deferred?
Right. And so do you then charge them for that too and say, oh, you got to take that out of your budget, we're not going to subsidize? Would you say that to City Hall? Would you say that to the Civic? Would you say that to the Fox Theater? Would you? And here, let me talk about some deferred maintenance. So we didn't do that with the arena. The arena has a boiler, there. In 10 years, that thing went out and we had to replace it.
Wow.
Yeah, and that cost us $500,000.
Yeah, it seems.
And I'm like, after 10 years, that boiler should still be working, shouldn't it? Should it have like a warranty or something?
Yeah, I guess we didn't get the extended warranty.
And if we're only using the place 120 days a year, I mean, come on, we should have more life out of it.
That's true.
But like I said, deferred maintenance. We are $1 billion in deferred maintenance in the city of Stockton. It's like $990 million in deferred maintenance. So at some point, we have to. We can't just keep letting things go. I mean, that's like never getting an oil change on your car or changing your tires. Well, if you never change your tires on your car, eventually you're going to get a blowout or a flat or something like that.
Maybe a wreck.
And if you do a little maintenance every year on your car,
right,
you can drive that car 500, 600,000 miles. I used to work for a Toyota town, and this guy told me, listen, all I ever do, besides tires and things like that, he goes, I always get an oil change. He brought in a 79 Toyota Corolla, this ugly car, and it still started up, purred like a kitten, and he had over 600,000 miles on that car. Right. And I was like, sir, we need to get you out of that and into a new Camry. Come here, let me show you the Camry. But
and then after 10 years, he had to change the boiler.
Yeah. So I'm just, I sit here and I think to myself, that old adage, are we going to throw the baby out with the bathwater? That, if you think it's a loser, it's not a loser. Because quality of life, can you really put a price on quality of life? Look at the people that commute over to the Bay Area every day and would love nothing more than to stay here. That what a pain that is, even though it's good money. I just think about quality of life. And Swenson Park, actually parks in general, parks are not built to make money. And I know this is golf with a park, but it's about your quality of life. Do you want to be able to go out and hit some balls and maybe play around for $15? The executive course for $10? Yes. I mean, come on.
I mean, look, I'm going to do it. I just never even considered it. And I think most people in Stockton, our country is stratified. Of course, our city is too. We're the most diverse city, around. And sometimes that causes, rifts in communication and such. And, I never even thought about being able to go play golf. You know, it just seemed like I was excluded from that. And I think that a lot of people maybe have that idea. And turns out it's cheaper than, let's see, bowling, playing pool. It's cheaper than...
oh, yeah.
It's cheaper than leaving town and doing anything. Hey, even some of the pools, you know, I mean... You go to a pool a couple times and it's that price too. So
you said that maybe, you know, it just wasn't for you.
Yeah.
Or for your group. I'm trying to see.
Fix the picture there.
Oh, it went out.
There you go. Okay, here you go next.
Okay.
Right there.
So look at that group of kids.
Yes.
Do you see that group of kids?
How nice.
Do you look like you could fit in with that group of kids?
Man, I look like my kids. What are you talking about?
Exactly. So what people think and what is reality, what their perception is and what their reality is of who is golfing is way off.
Yeah.
Way, way, way off. And I was really kind of disappointed when one of my council members said, you know, people like me, we weren't allowed on golf courses. And I wanted to say BS.
Well,
that's
it depends on how old they are. They're
younger than me. They're younger than me, and
they weren't allowed to cut across golf courses taking shortcuts.
Our public course, our muni course, everybody is invited and everybody can play.
I want to play. Is it daylight hours? What's the hours out there?
Let me look here. So the hours out there.
I mean, is it like the gym? Do people golf before work? Or
no. Well, I can tell you that Darren Lee was out there this morning. I want to say it's like 8 to 5 because it's getting dark.
It's dark early.
But you can be out there from 8 to 5 and go play around. Now, if you do the executive course, that's just going to take you like 2 hours. If you do the full 18 course, 18 holes, you're looking at 3.5 to 4 hours.
Okay.
But you might just want to try the executive course.
Yeah, give it
and
a
go
spin.
out and go out and play around.
Actually, my brother's coming back to town, and he's a heck of a golfer. So that's a good activity for us. You know, we can get off cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially if we walk.
Get
some exercise.
Absolutely.
Get some air.
You definitely can.
Well, you got me convinced. I hope the listeners are convinced. Y'all, this is it's an opportunity that you didn't know was there, and it's fun. It's you're not going to necessarily, it's not high impact, what do you call it, aerobic.
Actually,
but if you're on the driving range, you definitely
you will feel it, and let me tell you why you'll feel it. Well, first of all, walking around, great. If you do walk it and you're carrying your clubs, hey, that's exercise. But swinging that club, I go out only a couple times a year. And when I do and I come back, the next day I'm a little tight. And then 2 days, I'm really tight, you know, because it's not a motion that I do every day.
Right.
But when I'm swinging, let's say 3-4 times for 18 holes.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you get some physical, exercise out there for sure.
Well, that sounds great. I'm actually, I know there was sometimes, that we have controversies and sometimes you just don't know what to make of them. We do, sometimes we do get up in arms before, maybe we get the full story, but this is something that people latched onto right away. And
I've never seen that many people at a council meeting.
And I would say like from all across the spectrum, because wealthy homeowners were like nah, and like people who are living check to check
Children,
were like nah.
8-year-olds,
yeah. So
nah.
8s and 80s, So
we had multiple generations. So we had a child, a father, grandfather, a daughter, a mother, a grandfather. There were some grandmothers out there too, but I mean, overwhelmingly, and this is the thing. This isn't. I mean, you literally are making a connection with another human being when you're golfing.
Right.
You are having conversations. There's math involved with playing golf, adding up your scorecard, counting your strokes, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there
How
is
much
a lot
over par are you?
Right. Or, do you have a bogey? Do you have an eagle? What do you, what do you have? A birdie. But like I said, my parents had me take golf lessons when I was little through the city.
Yeah.
I took lessons through the city when I was growing up. And then as I got older, I didn't really appreciate the sport till I got older. And then they were like, oh, too bad you can't play with us because, you know, we got to pay more for you now because you're older. Oh. And I'm like, oh, but I really made connections with my parents on the golf course. We had great conversations. You know, I listened to them when they tried to help me with my stroke.
Yeah.
I never got to golf with my grandfather. I wish I could have had the opportunity maybe to have that, you know, golf with my grandfather and make that, you know, relationship, you know, stronger between the two of us. We did other things. You know, he took me to the stock market when I was a kid.
Hey.
And so, I mean, literally 3 years old, I'm going with my grandfather down to watch the ticker tape.
Yeah.
At the stock exchange.
Down there in San Francisco?
Yeah. So, I mean, just, you know,
cool.
But, I mean, you get to make, you know, person-to-person contact in a sport like that, as opposed to, and I'm not knocking football, don't get me wrong, but I've been in the black hole at a Raiders game with the father and kids, and I heard ridiculous language, you know, and I'm like, and beer and drunk and all this, and I'm like, okay, being in the black hole with your kids or taking up a round of golf.
Yes.
Where are you going to make a stronger relationship connection?
Plus, you could do it 6 times for the price of one game.
Yeah, the beer. The beer alone is a round of golf. You know, you think about that. So, for right now, we have a stay of execution.
All right.
But the discussion's not over. We'll have budget talks coming up really soon.
I got a quick suggestion. I thought about that. Deferred maintenance. Okay, we got lots of homeless people. Okay, if we train them to maybe learn how to do those kind of things, and while they're in training, they could go around and do these kind of things, and by the time they're certified, they're making money and stuff, but it was way cheap for us to get them to do all the maintenance.
Right. Well, here's a great thing. Okay, so I did my master's thesis on recidivism in education.
All right.
And I went to the RCC, so the jail right up off of Twin Cities Road in between 99 and I-5. That's where I did my research. They have a landscape program there, a certification program there. And it's I mean, like serious hours. They're out there, they're working, they're learning how to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they graduate from that program, and then upon release, they have the certification so they can go out and get a job.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not always easy. But I sit there and I think to myself, yeah, why couldn't we? It used to be back in 1998, because I went through all the budgets for golf when this came on the agenda.
Course.
You know me. I'm
the most prepared.
Yeah. So I went through all of them. Back in 1998, the California Conservation Corps did all the labor on the courses.
Wow.
All the maintenance and labor on the courses. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's great. I mean, is that something?
Is.
Can't we?
Well, that's why I brought it up. I also brought up the there was a golf advisory commission. What happened to that? There used to be a San Joaquin Youth Golf foundation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm like, what happened to all this stuff?
They just need some new life breathed into them. They just need to be woke up.
Well, they just got woke.
All right.
They just got woke last week. So, yeah, and if I can just real briefly, I don't know how much time I have, but one of the things we didn't talk about that happened last week that is of particular importance to our location right now.
All right.
Is that there was no vote on the PBID, the Miracle Mile Improvement District.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of people are very concerned about that. And I would just like to say that it wasn't, especially for me, you know, it's not easy for me just to sit there and not say anything.
Yeah.
But there were, you know, there were irregularities with the balloting. And so.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
Yeah. And so it just.
More ballots received than went out. Yeah.
So let's say we just took that, you know, we didn't take that in consideration and we went ahead and approved something like that. Without doing our due diligence, we would open ourselves up, you know.
Especially since what happened with the former.
Yeah. So I just want people to know that we're still going to support the mile, and when I say we, I mean me as a consumer.
Yes.
Somebody who loves to eat. I mean, I go to Manny's once a week. I get my avocado burger and fries, even though it's at the other end. I'm there. When I have a little extra, I love Coco Rose.
Sure.
I mean the Ave. Their filet mignon.
Nice.
But I want people just to be aware that you know what. We need to keep our eyes open, our ears open. We need to be vigilant. We need to be watching out for one another. And we need to go to, we need to support businesses, period. Businesses, period.
Of course.
But the Miracle Mile is special.
Now, does that mean that this is a done deal, or is it something that's still being reviewed?
Well, if we had another meeting before the end of the year, but I think at this point, they're going to need to have future discussions as to what people really want to be part of. And I think they can get there. Okay. I don't think that just, that this is done. I think that what comes back will be better and stronger.
Yeah.
And I think that it will be something people will be able to embrace.
Nice.
All people.
It sounds like an open invitation to city council meetings.
Yes.
Yes.
So anyway, I just want people to know that it wasn't easy for I think for anybody, but I'm them, and I encourage everybody else to do the same.
All right. Well, of course, it's always a great show, the Fugazi edition of Stockton.
It needs to be
SJC.
2 hours because I still could speak.
Whenever you want to do a 2-hour show, you let me know in advance. We'll push all sorts of stuff out the way. Again, you come so well prepared. You inform us. We really appreciate you and all that you do for our community. You're also a super teacher.
I know I didn't talk about the homeless even.
Yes.
There's all kinds of stuff. But
whenever you want to come back, you don't have to wait till your monthly. If you got something to share, we'll break you in.
Thank you. But I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We got 3 weeks left of this year, and let's make the most of it.
All right. Well, we want to thank you, Christina Fugazi, City Council Member for District 5 right here in our lovely city of Stockton. We thank you for all you do. Of course, you've been tuned in to Stockton SJC right here on the Voice of Stockton, KXVS, your community radio station. Please do become a member. It's super easy, kxvs.org/join. Support community radio. We couldn't do it without you. And go to those city council meetings.
Come
and
see us.
Play some golf.
Yes.
$10. All right. Thanks for coming again. Thanks to the listeners, and a big shout out to our city council. We got a lot of work to do, and we appreciate all of you out there. And thank you, Miss Christina Fugazi, District 5.